Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Awesome Finds. This is where I showcase my latest vinyl pickups. And we're gonna start with an artist I had never heard of. This is Alborosie with a 7-inch single titled Living Dread. Now, Alborosie is an Italian reggae artist. I'd never heard of him. This is, I believe, from 2019, and this is put out by Evo Sound. It is individually numbered. This is 175 of 1000, and it comes on this really cool green vinyl. There is side A and there is side B. The side B is Jaja Crown, and both sides play at 45 RPMs. I don't listen to a lot of reggae, but I did enjoy this, but I don't really know enough about the different types, the different subgenres of reggae to really go into detail, but I thought it was pretty good, so I recommend you guys check Alborosie out. All right, everybody, up next we have Rod Hamdallah with his EP titled Think About It on Hound God Records from 2000. Well, I think this original music is from 2014, but this vinyl pressing is from 2019. Here's the record. It's a 10-inch. Here is side 1. There's side 2. Overall, you know, I wasn't familiar with his work, but I would describe it as kind of voodoo blues rock. It's got some crunchy guitars. It's got kind of a low down, little bit of dirty feel, like it's kind of hot out. The vocals are distorted in a way that's like coming through a telephone, so they're lo-fi. Overall, it has kind of a lo-fi, low budget feel in terms of like it was recorded in a garage, but overall I think the production's really good. Everything's intentional. It wasn't like a limitation. And yeah, it's got a real nice kind of swagger to it, almost like a gypsy sort of vibe about it. Really dig it. I think Rod Hamdallah, definitely worth checking out. Up next, I have two from the Vinyl Post Club. I have Volume 2 and Volume 3. Now, keep in mind, Vinyl Post has been sending me these without anything. I'm not working with them. They just keep sending me their releases, and they are quite good. This first one, Volume 2, has got a real kind of dreamy chamber pop, sun gets in your eyes, kind of quaint, lovely, lush, palate cleansing kind of a vibe. As with the previous release, it comes with a lyric sheet, and there's the backside. And I have to say, I don't know any of these bands, but I love all of them. So Vinyl Post is doing a fantastic job curating some really great bands. Here is side A, that custom label art, and there is side B. This was a really nice surprise. Really enjoyed this compilation. Now let's talk about Volume 3 here. This one also came in a custom inner sleeve with lyrics and whatnot. And this is also on yellow vinyl. Here is side A, and there is side B. This one, I believe, was all female driven. At least all the vocalists were female. A little bit more of an indie rock vibe about this. Sometimes it got into the territory of the XX, but not quite as sparse as them. Really good stuff, man. Overall, Vinyl Post has yet to disappoint me. I really dig their vibe, their curation, and honestly, the club is very reasonable priced. I think each of these records are at the very most $20 each, and then obviously the price goes down the longer you remember. But yeah, if you're into new music, discovering new artists, I highly recommend checking out Vinyl Post. Up next, I have two releases from Danger Bird Records. I was lucky enough to go visit their office, which is literally down the street from me. I walked there and I got a tour of their office, and I got to take home a couple of records, and we will be working together at some point in the future. I'm not sure what that will entail, but at the very least, I'm going to show you some of the records that I got from them. And this first one is by the band No Win with their album Downey. This is from 2019. And oh my gosh, I just fell in love with this record. It just reminded me of what it was to be a teenager again. It has these soaring guitars, beautiful, strong vocals. There's not a pretension about it. It's a little bit emo, but it has that sort of 90s alternative rock sensibility, but brought up into the modern age. And it just, I really, really love it. It feels very nostalgic for me, but I think even if you didn't grow up in the 90s, you can really enjoy this record. And in fact, they are a local band, well, at least to Southern California. They are from Downey, And they're really proud of it. It came with this lovely little zine booklet here with lyrics and just various parts of where they live that they're proud of, which I think was really cool. And this was recorded in basically a home studio. Here is side 1 and there is side 2. There's something about these labels that, again, really harkens back to the 90s a little bit. So yeah, No Win, fantastic band. Really love this record. Check it out for yourself. So up next, I have Santa Rosa Fangs by Matt Costa from 2018. I was familiar with Matt Costa, but not necessarily intimately familiar with his music. And I was excited to try this record out. And it turns out it is a concept record. It revolves around Sharon and her 2 brothers, Richie and Tony, and it's their story of love, loss, and addiction. I want to show you guys the record real quick. Comes on black vinyl. Here is side A, and there is side B. And music-wise, it has a very distinct side A and side B. And side A is feel-good rock, Americana. It's got a real road trip vibe about it, kind of dreamy at times. And then side B is much more acoustic-driven. It's a little slower. It's a little bit more, I wouldn't say melancholy, but again, nostalgic. One of my favorite moments is there's a reprise of I Remember It Well. It's titled I Remember It Well #2, and there's these mandolins that come in that just gave me chills when I first heard it. So anyway, Matt Costa, now is a great time to get into his music, and you know what? You might as well start with this record. I really enjoyed it. So up next, I have JJ Cale with his first posthumous record titled Stay Around from 2019 on Because Music. Now, his wife of many years compiled this of songs that he pretty much wrote all of these and had recorded them over the years. So it's a very intimate record, and it really does sound fantastic. It's very well mixed and produced. Opening up, get a picture of the man himself with some credits and whatnot, and there's the back cover. What's really nice about this, it is very much like a slide. So you have different pictures that you can put into the front cover to represent, you know, the old-timey kind of slide photography. I'm sure some of you will remember that, not everyone. And there is another picture, and look at that Cadillac. Or no, that's not a Cadillac, I'm sorry. That looks like, I am not sure, but it's a big American car. I'm not too good on the 70s vehicles. And what else is in here? Oh yeah, I also got the CD version. They sent that to me, as well as, if I can, an actual slide as a little promo for press people, I guess. Kind of cool. So you get the idea of where they're going with this front cover here. All right, so let me show you guys the records. These were pressed at NPO. Here is side A. There is side B. Here is side C and side D. Music-wise, I was very surprised how much I enjoyed it. Overall, it's got a very warm summer breeze feeling about it. Feels a bit homey at times. It's got a little bit of this country blues honky-tonk feel. There's slide guitar on here, acoustic guitar, finger-picking style guitar, drums with brushes. There's one song on here, My Baby Blues, which is really beautiful. He wrote that with his wife. And, you know, at times it's very aching, poignant, it's nostalgic, but it's also timeless, and there's a certain joy about it of living a very full life. And overall, it's just a real celebration of his life and his career. So if you've never really dived into his music before, I highly recommend checking this record out. I think you're going to enjoy it. So up next, I have Virtua.zip by ESPRIT, otherwise known as George Clanton. This is on his 100% Electronica label. This originally came out in 2016. This is a 2019 pressing, and it comes on this beautiful blue, kind of swirly, nebulous color here. This is, I'm not even sure what side that is. I'm guessing that's side A, because it's making these jet streams form an A. And let's see. And yeah, this is side B. Really, really gorgeous gorgeous looking record overall. And you know what, this is definitely my style of music. I really like George Clanton. I like what he does on his own, and this is much more in the vaporwave style of music. And oh my goodness, I'm so happy to pick this up on vinyl because it really does sound fantastic. All right, so these next two records both come from Mr. C's record store in Orange, in the city of Orange. And this is such a time capsule of a record shop. And funny enough, That Thing You Do was actually shot at this record store. And I was there for a movie that I'm acting in called Let Us In, and I wasn't in this scene, but I got to shop at this record shop. And it's one of those places where they're not gonna have new records or even more modern stuff. Like, it stops around 1987, I would say. So anything before then, you're probably gonna find it. But I did find this Exotica record. This is Arthur Lyman with his record Luau Time from 1972 on Mark 56 Records. Never heard of that record label, but this was for the Genuine Canning Company. And this is effectively a best of his music. And apart from the kind of funny looking tiki guy, the music on here is fantastic, and I think that's why this is one of the more valuable records put out by Arthur Lyman. But it is very, very good. I highly recommend finding it. I paid a good price. It was only $12. I think that was a fantastic deal. Almost in near mint condition, barely been played. Really, really great stuff. This is side one. And there's side two. Now, this next one was a bit of a surprise. I had never heard of this. This is from 1977. This is a private pressing. It's the soundtrack to Foes by Jeff Bruner. And there's really not a lot of info on this. I was struck by the cover of it. I mean, I love UFOs. It's a movie I never heard of. And I looked it up on Discogs, and it goes for a heck of a lot more money than they were asking at this record shop. I think they wanted maybe $20 for it. You can find this film, but it's not super easy. I had a hard time. All I could find was the trailer for it, but I think you can buy it. I think it's being remastered for Blu-ray. Kind of a, I wouldn't say Close Encounters ripoff, but it looks interesting for a low-budget film. Here's the record itself. There is side one and side two. So this is very atmospheric, kind of, synth-based, a little brooding, experimental, really cool stuff. And I can see why it has kind of the higher price point that it does on Discogs. But if you can find it, I highly recommend picking it up. Moving on, we have Fort Vine with their album Stay Magical, which was originally released in 2018, but this is the 2019 vinyl pressing. As many of you may already know, Matt from Too Many Records has started a record label called Too Many Records, and this is his very first release. He did this through crates. I was one of the backing members. I think he was looking for 300 people, and he went over that by, I don't know, a couple dozen. It is a gatefold double LP, and there is the back there. Now, each record came in its own black paper sleeve. I'll show you the first record here. This is record one with side A. Look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous splatter there. And there's side B. Here is side C and side D. So yeah, music-wise, Fort Vine is kind of indie folk rock, kind of a mellow record to put on, makes you feel good. Especially with some tea, some hot tea on a rainy afternoon, this record will go very well. So up next we have Tawny with Boy Shopping from 1984 on Thunderbolt Records. So I picked this record up at an antique store, and they had a bunch of records right when you walked in. This one caught my eye because, well, clearly Boy Shopping, just the cover alone is amazing. But then I looked it up on Discogs. They were asking $20, but online, you can't find one for less than $200. So I'm like, why is this so expensive? I was very intrigued. There is a little bit of some sort of, I don't know, ink residue or something got on here. It's not mildew. It's not transfer from another record from moisture. I don't know what this is, but it is actually autographed. There's another copy on Discogs for sale, and you can see her autograph. And so who Tani is, she is a musical genius prodigy. She was, I think, 13 or 14 when she made this record all by herself. She played all the parts, recorded it, produced it, all of that. It was put out by Thunderbolt Records here in Simi Valley. There's really not a lot of information about who she is other than this like science article in this magazine talking about all the technology she used to make this record. Apparently it was very cutting edge. This has been described as sort of like lo-fi synth pop basically, and it is really, really cool. It's not available online. You really can't hear it unless you have a copy of it, and so I'm very thankful I got one for a reasonable price. I'll show you guys the record real quick. It comes in this lyric sleeve, so if you are shopping for a copy, make sure it has this because it did come with one. And here is the vinyl itself. Here is side 1. And there is side 2. So this is just like one of those mystery records. This is what makes it so much fun to be a record collector, and just being out there and seeing what's available only on vinyl, what kind of like fell through the cracks, what's really good music that hasn't been discovered yet. Anyway, really cool. Tani, Boy Shopping, check it out if you can. All right, so this next batch of records all came from Nate from The Vinyl Guide. The Vinyl Guide is a fantastic podcast. If you're not already listening to it, you gotta subscribe. It is really, really good stuff. Nate hosts his show, and it's all about artist interviews, and not just like artists, but also industry people. It's just such a great podcast to listen to, so I highly recommend checking him out. Now, getting to the music, he posted a photo of recent pickups, and he had this record of Buckingham Nicks. I think it was on Twitter. I reached out and said, oh man, if you ever sell that, let me know. I've been looking for a copy for ages. Well, long story short, he offered to send it to me. Right off the bat, thank you so very much for sending this to me. I can't even get over it. I'm trying to figure out what I can send back to you as a thank you, because you are so very generous, Nate. I really, really appreciate it. And part of it is the mystique of it. It is a very good album. It didn't sell well. I think it was originally released in 1973, and then I believe there was a reissue in 75 or 78, but after that, it just sort of languished. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks obviously went into Fleetwood Mac, and that band blew up, and for no good reason, it has never been reissued properly, not even on CD, if you can believe that. It just, it's not an expensive record, but to find a good player, it's gonna be around the, 35, 40, 45, 50 on up. And obviously if you want a near mint copy, you're going to be looking probably over $100 for one. This one's in very good shape. It's a great player. I'm very happy to have it, so thank you. This actually is a US copy, believe it or not. How it ended up in Australia, I do not know. The gatefold, you get lyrics, another photo, and then on the back there, we get sort of a mirror of the front cover. All right, I'll show you guys the record real quick. This is on Polydor Records. Here is side 1, and there is side 2. Overall, it's very, very clean, but I do want to clean it up myself before I really play it too many more times. Now, music-wise, I would say if you're into Rumors and Tusk by Fleetwood Mac, you're really gonna like this record. It's got that, that kind of 70s adult-oriented rock kind of vibe. Yeah, it just has a real great groove about it. Very much a Sunday brunch mimosa kind of record, and I mean that in the best possible way. I'm not putting this record down. I think it really is worth finding a copy of it and listening to it, especially if you like that era of Fleetwood Mac. Now, that's not the only record he sent. In addition to this LP, he also sent me this very beat up but original pressing of High Voltage by AC/DC, otherwise known in their home country as Akka Daka. This is so cool, man. I never see this here in the US, and when you do, it is a sticker shock, especially for one in good condition. This one's been very well loved, but that does not take away from just how cool it is. Very tattered, I know, but oh my goodness. I'll show you guys the record. It probably won't come across how beat up this thing is, but it does, I believe, have the original inner sleeve. It looked like a rat got to it right there on the end. It is worn out. It is very, it looks dusty, but it's just worn out. It's funny how old records get that way. There's a few scratches. There's a ton of hairline scratches all over the place, but look at that. So cool. Just to have it from a historical perspective is so very cool for someone like me who lives in the United States. He also included this ticket stub. I don't know if Nate meant to send me this, but it's a Sydney Opera House concert hall for Iggy Pop, and this was from April of 2019. Pretty cool. So one day I would love to go to Sydney and check out that opera house. And that bridge too, and just experience Australia, man. That would be a ton of fun. So anyway, oh, that's not it though. He also sent me a bunch of 7 inches, and I'll go through these real quick. Starting with this King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard 7-inch of Cy Boogie and Acarin, I believe is how you say it. I'm not really sure. I love that kind of duck face. Really cool, man. I enjoyed this. I hadn't heard this before. Here is the record itself. There's side B and there's side A. I actually kind of prefer side B, to be honest, but I like hearing King Gizzard do something a little different than they're kind of, well, actually they've been branching out lately, but you know, for a while there, they were kind of doing that whole like psychedelic garage rock sound. He also sent the Porkers Make Hay, which I love this artwork. And this was a fun ska band. Really, really enjoyed this record. And this is on Radley Records. And I believe this was made in Australia as well. And then he sent me some Beatles stuff, which was really cool. At first, I didn't know what the heck this was. Mary Had a Little Lamb, but this is Paul McCartney. Actually, well, technically it's Wings. So you have... this side is Mary Had a Little Lamb, and then you have Little Women Love. And what a cool 7-inch, man. Really good music. And an Australian pressing to boot. And then we also have this really cool Australian pressed Beatles EP. This is more requests. So it's got Slow Down, Matchbox, Tell There Was You, and I Wanna Be Your Man, the only Beatles penned record there. Now this isn't in the best shape, but still, it's not something I really come across here in the United States. This is, there is, well, let's see, that's side 1, and there is side 2. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much, Nate. This was so very generous. Again, everybody, go check out the Vinyl Guide wherever you get your podcasts. You will not be disappointed. Now, this next record was certainly a splurge for myself. This is an original UK pressing from 1994 of Weezer's debut album, and this is the non-cut-off version. So if you notice, every other version you'll ever see cuts off the feet right about there. But this one does not. I don't know the story behind it, but this is probably the most unique cover you can find of this. Now, I don't believe this came with any sort of insert. I could be wrong, but mine did not, which is what is reflected on Discogs. But if you guys know otherwise, let me know, because I'd be curious to track that down. But anyway, this is on Geffen Records. And let's see, this is side A, and there is side B. You know, it's not in mint shape, I will say that. So I'm definitely going to clean this record up, but when I do, I'm very excited to do an A-B comparison between this version and my MoFi edition. I have a feeling the MoFi one's going to sound better just because it's newer, it's not as beat up. But who knows? This version could surprise me. I really don't know yet. I have yet to do that. But regardless, I'm just very happy to have this in my collection. And I wanted to get this before it got really too expensive. I think I paid around $90 plus shipping. So it was really over $100 for this. But it was totally worth it because it's one of my favorite albums. And I will always, always cherish it. So that will do it for today. I want to thank everybody for watching. Be sure to let me know which of these were your favorites and which ones you will pick up for yourself. Until then, I am your Vinyl Geek, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Everybody, thanks again for watching this episode of Awesome Finds. If you want to see more, I put a playlist right there, as well as a video that YouTube will choose for me. Now, I just started a Patreon page. If you want to help this channel grow for as little as $1 a month, you can help. All you got to do is go to my Patreon page, and there are some really cool physical rewards if you choose to pledge higher. So thank you again.